Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the last day of the group stages of Overwatch Legends series. Tonight, we've once again got quite a bit of action right there, and throughout Group A to C, it turned out that we had quite a strong competition out there. I already can't wait for the online playoffs to see which two teams will make it to the LAN finals. But first of all, we've got to find out which is going to be the last team qualifying to the playoffs, first of all. So in the lineup right here, we've got eSuba, IceblockGG, Cyber Athletes, and KGSCL. Alongside with me is Raithwell. My name is Integrate, and hopefully you'll have as much of a good time as we will for sure today.
Yeah, hi everyone. So definitely, I think we'll have some great games today. The last couple of days, yesterday was really action-packed. So I'm excited to see what they have in store. eSuba won the last two Counter-Strike and League of Legends Legend series that we held. So I have high hopes for this Overwatch team. I guess let's start off. What do you know about the teams?
Yeah, for eSuba, actually, it's quite tough for me at the moment because on their official website they announced two lineups of theirs. They don't have so much info in the rankings about them, so it might be that they're just starting fresh right here. But right off the bat, they're facing off against IceblockGG. That is a very strong team to say the least. And if they manage to face off against them on kind of an equal footing, then we definitely can have some hopes for a eSuba Overwatch right there for sure. But as you mentioned, they won the two previous Legend series. They will be looking for blood right here. And Iceblock is the toughest enemy in this group for sure. Then next up, we've got Cyber Athletes and KGSZL, who are both close to each other in the rankings, so it could be an interesting matchup based on that. But KGSZL have a pretty strong member in their team right there, a very popular person that played on the top matches once upon a time. So I'm definitely looking forward to his Genji's performance on Kib
So
out there.
who is that? KGSZL's player? Which one is it?
Kib.
Kip.
It is
Okay.
KYB. Yep.
All right. So well, what about Ice Block do you know that makes them so formidable?
Well, first of all, they have two of the former Tier 1 players right off the bat in their lineup. It's Crew and Super Pluke. They used to take part in these top 1 tournaments, and they used to win a lot of these matches. Recently, they are pretty much unbeatable with only very singular defeats. One of them up against Vivi's Adventure,
Oh,
who
okay.
have already shown up really strong in this tournament, so there's no way to blame them really. But they won 2-0 against Mixi Mix. They won 3-0 against Ensei, who were also teams that have done very well already in this tournament through. And Ensei is actually the victor of Group A. And that was a pretty fresh matchup. So if they go through, then probably like Vivi's Adventure is going to be a very strong enemy for them. But there is even a possibility that they might smash some others out there.
Well, Mixie Mix definitely performed very well yesterday, even though they didn't qualify in the end. So, I mean, losing to them, being able to beat them does show us at least the kind of caliber of players that they are. What about the second matchup, Cyber Athletes and KGSCL? You've told us a bit about the second team, but do you know much about Cyber Athletes?
Yep, they're a little bit of an international mix out there, and they're in theory ranked higher than KGSCL, although I'm not too sure how reliable that actually is, because just judging by the names, you would say that there's more potential to the team than what the stats really show. But
Yep.
yeah, lately having quite a bit of losses of like 0-4, but against some pretty big teams. So they definitely compete on the highest level. They're not necessarily able to win many of these matches. So for me, that is going to be a very interesting matchup to determine which team should really be ranked where out there in the Go-To Gamers top.
Great. Well, that'll be really exciting to see. So, as we talked about yesterday, but for newcomers who might be joining us, Doomfist is enabled on this tournament. Yesterday, he was used quite a bit by Mixie Mix. Leaf, in particular, gave us some really great performances and showed us how to play him. And Mixie Mix were very dominant with their use of Doomfist and the team comp that they were playing, except against the other team who was able to beat them. So I don't. Do you want to give a breakdown of like what happened yesterday, Nero?
Well, we definitely had one person that demolished the game until the moment they faced off against Singularity. So Singularity has really shown to be the one a strong team in the group that was out of reach for the others, unfortunately. But we also were shown some of the potential that Doomfist holds in itself. And I think that we need to see a little bit more of him, because it was truly really just one person trying to get something out of that hero. But we already saw that it's possible to really do much. But then when you face off against a team that's, say, 1 tier higher than you and is smashing you 3-0 on every control map, there's not much you can really say yourself. So maybe today, maybe it's going to be IceblockGG who try it, or maybe Kib from KGSCL, as he's just such a strong DPS player.
Absolutely, and I think it had quite a big impact on the meta. But before we talk about that, we have a video about Team eSuba, so we'll show you that. So there we go. Definitely, you know, a well-established team that has a couple of other successful teams in other games that have done well. So it'll be exciting to see what they can do today. So going back to kind of what we were talking about, Doomfist. So he's quite a dynamic hero, and he has a lot of mobility built into his kit. So his base movement speed isn't very high, but when you chain the skills together, you're able to jump around quite quickly, and there's high mobility and high damage. He's able to one-shot 21 out of 24 heroes, and we saw that yesterday when Doomfist was constantly just deleting the Tracer. Every time he ran into a Tracer, he was eliminating her. Now, the way Doomfist is built, his health is actually quite low. It's only at 250 HP. But if he's able to hit his skills on another enemy, he gets a shield of up to 150 points, which enables him then to escape. So he can jump in with his skills, do the damage, get the shield, and get out again. But if the team wants him to survive longer, this is where the meta is kind of starting to shift, and we saw that yesterday. So we mentioned that there were a few heroes that kind of combo very well with Doomfist, one of which was Zarya. She's able to put her shield on Doomfist as he jumps in, giving him that a bit more survivability. Her damage and her ultimate grouping up the enemy is also very useful. Reinhardt was someone else we saw yesterday, and his Earth Shatters are huge, can have a huge impact on the match. And Mei is another champion. Now, Singularity, however, kind of stuck to a more traditional dive comp, which we've been seeing the past couple of months, and they were able to beat Mixy Mix's Doomfist comp. So we're not sure, though, whether that was just Team Singularity being a better team, or whether it was that the dive comp is a counter to the Doomfist comp. But they just played very well, Team Singularity. Their coordination was really on point. Mande and Craigie in particular were very skillful in using Soldier 76 and Tracer, and their positioning was great, which neutralized the Doomfist comp slightly. But here we are. We're going into Team 1's picks and bans.
Yep,
Match
that's eSuba versus IceblockGG. The picks and bans are kicking off, although nobody's from IceblockGG is joining the lobby just yet, and eSuba are actually concerned that they might be AFK, so I'm wondering if that actually is true. But yeah, just going back to the video, just going back to how I said that I couldn't really get much info on eSuba's lineup. I thought it might be fresh. Apparently it's been together for 6 months.
Right.
And they've been winning some of their local Czech and Slovakian tournaments, true. But we also had a very similar team to that yesterday, was FTW, who only really got some success on the Portuguese scene. And then you could see how it matched up in the international tournaments. I looked a little bit into Go for Overwatches, the international ones.
Yep.
And eSuba most of the time gets shut down in round 2, if not round 1. So unfortunately, internationally, they don't really get too much success out there.
Yeah, I mean it's the challenge of kind of, you know, you can be a big fish in a little pond, or you can be the little fish in a big pond. And I think if you're a really competitive player, you'd always want to be challenging yourself and rising up those rankings. So if For the Win were doing great in their scene, that's excellent, and it's good that they're actually putting themselves in these kind of uncomfortable situations and trying to challenge better teams to improve themselves. And we definitely saw it yesterday. Like, even though they lost and Mixy Mix, who they fought against, were significantly better, there were moments where For the Win were able to kind of challenge Mixy Mix and made some very good plays. So it shows us kind of the potential of the team.
Yep. Now finally, crew from IceblockGG is joining in. Everybody's starting to join in, so we're probably back, and just still wondering whether the picks and bans are exactly how they wanted to be, because I don't think so. Simply, we've got Horizon Lunar Colony, we've got Temple of Anubis and Volskaya Industries left as maps to play. Usually I wouldn't imagine any single one of these maps being left over, although once there was a Volskaya Industries, but it wasn't ever played, as it was left out as the third map in a 2-0 matchup.
Oh, have I disappeared?
Yeah, you have for a second.
Oh, there I am. I'm back again. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to find out what's happening. So I think they will be remaking, because there was an issue with the drafting system, Overwatch drafting system. So we'll just be fixing that shortly and be getting that back online. I don't know what's going on, because my camera is definitely saying that it's working. So we'll have to just wait and see. So they will be redoing the draft.
Yep. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So as we were saying, just talking about the Doomfist meta, he's very good when comboed with other heroes, and he can take the place of a DPS because his damage is very high, and because of his skill set, he's able to be very mobile. So, so as we saw, it was yesterday he was replacing the Tracer.
Yeah, most of the time there were quite a bit of combinations out there, but most of the time, yes, he was replacing the Tracer. And also, I'm not necessarily sure where to put the yesterday's performance, since mostly only Leaf was playing it and the team was just building around it. So we got the Reinhardt, Rosaria, Anna. Yeah. Additionally, the Doomfist, and then all the usual stuff. So there would be a Lucio as the second support and some other DPS. And now I don't think that the meta will be shifted so heavily towards what it was like 1 year ago, just because of the Doomfist. I think that it would be a little bit more mixed. I think that the Diva will start showing up a little bit more alongside with him, and so on. And even in the last matches from Mixy Mix, we saw them picking up the Winston instead of the Reinhardt. But still, Reinhardt got some little buffs for himself. Same goes for the Zarya that was also picked. And then they also played McCree, though in my opinion it was a little bit of like a fun thing to do because they were doing so well in their matches.
Yes.
But the McCree also got like indirectly buffed, I would say, because that flashbang buff is not something major that you would start picking him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the things is just that it was interesting. I'm not sure where the McCree really fit in. I think the thing with the Doomfist is that he's very strong, and with the right combination and the right team, he can be used very effectively, as we saw Mixy Mix, who dominated For the Win really with their team comp. But when you're matching up against another team, I think it's a champion that you bring in and out, and there's a place in the meta for kind of both dive comps and Doomfist comps, as we're kind of terming them at the moment. But we're definitely seeing that yesterday, and it's interesting how the meta is mixing up, because again, as I was talking yesterday to you about, I was reading a post from Jeff Kaplan, who was explaining that they think the game is actually very balanced at the moment, and they don't want to nerf Winston or Diva, which a lot of people are calling for due to the dive meta. Because they were saying that a couple of months ago, when they actually did nerf and made some changes to Diva, people were calling her unplayable. But then players figured out this new dive meta, and that's where it's been dominating. So when the meta will change, it's likely that it will change because people figure out a counter and team comps to deal with the dive meta, rather than waiting for Blizzard to kind of change the numbers behind the scenes to force a meta change. And perhaps this is where Doomfist will come in, and he will shake things up a little bit and give us some more diversity.
Yep, so still trying to figure out the draft. I can't wait to find out the picks, because I can already grant you that none of the picks that were left out there are going to be left this time. There's not going to be a Volskaya, there's not going to be a Temple of Anubis, and surely not a Lunar Colony.
It's interesting that you think no Temple of Anubis, because we did see that in the Apex finals.
I just don't really think that it's going to be a possibility, especially in this matchup. eSuba, if they leave it out there, they're kind of crazy. And for now, yeah, it's still in the pool. And
I was a bit surprised myself like that. It was in the Apex finals, but it's just one of those games that came out that actually gave quite an interesting. It was good finals. I kind of don't want to spoil anything, but I definitely encourage people to go check it out. But Temple of Anubis might end up being in the top 3.
I am expecting it to be the ban from eSuba right now, because if they don't ban it, since they really don't have any great achievements out there internationally, it will probably be a 2-0. They won't be able to do anything right there on the Temple of Anubis. They'll be spawn locked for most of the time. And wow, it's left out in the pool. But why the hell would people ban Dorado all the time? That's something I just cannot.
I think the thing about Dorado is that people aren't as comfortable playing. Like, they probably feel good, but they don't feel great about it. So like you're saying with Temple of Anubis, you expect a 2-0, and that's because you're really crediting teams to understand the map and how to play the map and dominate on it. And I think that Dorado is just a little bit like a little bit dodgy. But here we go with Numbani as the first map, so that will be exciting. It's quite a good opening map to give us a sense of how the two teams will work out.
Yep, Numbani once again coming back into the game, as we did not see it a single time yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and then we had a little bit of it earlier in the groups, in Group A and B. So once again, Numbani, once again, it's going to be interesting to see how the teams play around it, because we had Too Easy, for instance, playing the Tracer very stubbornly, but it was not working out, and then you could see the contrast as his enemy picked up a soldier on defense. It was just so solid. So once again comes the question whether Doomfist will be picked. Right here, like, you have a lot of these open spaces where you can drop down the Meteor Strike. I think like exceptionally well it could work on the first point when you want to capture it. That could be where it really shows.
I would say, just with going back to Too Easy, I feel like it's not that his Tracer was a problem. It's that his Soldier 76 was just having a much better impact on the map and in the game. So it's a situation like where, actually, I think it was VV's Adventure, and I can't remember the player, but he was using Reaper very well on Route 66 in that initial part of the map to kind of open things up. And then he was swapping back to the Diva. And it's that sort of mentality that I think players need to have when they're trying to go for things outside the meta or even their own personal picks, and figuring out what is the most useful champion in this situation a bit more than what am I most comfortable on. Especially once you get to the higher levels of competition where the players are all equally skilled. It's easy, of course, like, when you are just the best team and the best players, you can just brute force anything. And like we were saying, maybe that pick of the McCree yesterday was more about the team just feeling so comfortable and so dominant that they felt that they could just put in the hero that they want to play rather than having to play. But when you're matching up against equally skilled teams, you need to think about what will allow the team comp and to open up the map and gain control.
Yep, and really just having the Temple of Anubis out there. What's the other one? Watchpoint Gibraltar. Now, the question is, who is going to be picking the next map? Because I believe IceblockGG would love to actually play Temple of Anubis, just because it could be a really short map for them if they really exceed. But then if they win the bunny, it's very likely that eSuba will just try to go for Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, well, I mean, for IceblockGG to pick the next one means losing this one, and we'll have to see how things go. But I'm a big fan of Numbani because I think just the way it's set up, and it shows us quite a dynamic play style, and the teams have to adapt to the changing in objectives. They have to capture the payload and then move it. And that will hopefully show us how they're skirmishing, what their damage is doing, and whether they're able to really dominate, and will they be the #1 team that we are kind of expecting IceBlock to be, or will eSuba be able to challenge them and show us something unexpected?
Oh well. Okay, both teams ready actually, so we'll be hopping into the Numbani shortly enough. And actually, like back in the day, Superpluke, Lilbo, and Crew were playing in one team already, but dominating mostly the European scene. There were even some Torbjorns picked up on Numbani, as far as I remember, or in serious tournaments. So who knows? Indeed, as you said, like these guys that are so much stronger or expectedly stronger than their enemies might be trying to just push something completely unusual through, like we saw the Bastion yesterday on the PAL.
Yeah, and that was used to great success. Like the amount of, he was getting quadra kills, pentakills, one after the other. So it's this sort of creativity and figuring out what works best and how the team can make it work. So I'm definitely really excited to see how they play. I think chat was just saying that IceBlock has a couple of Misfit and Luminosity players, so they're definitely experienced on the big scene and that tier 1 tournament. So it'd be great to see how things go. But we're entering the game now, and yeah, I'm excited. Is there anyone you'd like to watch at the start of the match?
It's tough to say, really. I don't want to put it on one single player right off the bat. Let's just see how both the teams match up against each other, because I don't think it's going to be a one-man show if we're talking about IceblockGG, but it could very well be that the one-man show from eSuba, whereas yesterday we could see this one person with a Genji just going for the plays of the game, sometimes dominating, sometimes winning the team fights, but mostly losing the maps. So there could be this one star player as on FTW. Yeah. But I really, really just doubted that eSuba will be able to put up a good challenge.
Wow. Okay, so you really just think IceBlock are going to be that dominant?
Unfortunately, I think so, but I would love to be surprised.
All right, we'll have to wait and see.
So apparently, we're going to get to see a little bit of Farm Mercy action right here. It's actually likely on the bunny, so sure, why not? And nobody going for Doomfist yet.
No, we'll have to see how things go.
But yeah, that's the thing.
Interesting team comp so far. So, we have the Pharah medic one on the one side. Sorry, IceblockGG have the Pharah there, which is quite a good push comp. Not too much heal there, just the Lucio at the moment. Oh, sorry. No, what am I saying? They have the 2 healers there, so not at all. Don't worry about what I'm saying. Brain fart.
All right. So they'll be hopping in, and let's see if they will be neutralized quickly enough. There is no soldier on the defending side, and there is a Zenyatta though, so he might be able to limit that. And we saw so many aggressive divas actually limiting the Paras very efficiently, so maybe I'll be expecting that to happen. Heiko, instant suicide out there, trying to hold back as many people as possible. He does that well, but in the meantime, his team's not really achieving anything. So for now, the first offense of IceblockGG is completely picked apart. Only Crew getting right now a kill on Exaraf. He jumped very far into the back, and that's what I like to see, but when the rest of the team can actually do something in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was kind of a bit of a mistake that I think it maybe crumbled once we saw Heiko suicide, which was a shame, but we'll just have to wait. They just have to regroup, see how the supers are up. It looks like IceblockGG have about half of the team has their supers up. I would say that eSuba have a bit closer, so just need to wait and see what happens. But as we can see, this Pharah's doing quite a bit of damage. Earlier, she managed to pick off the Zenyatta on the other side of the team, and I think that's going to be the key, removing the healers and then just putting the damage out in such a way that they're not able to do anything but forced to fall back there.
Well, QB actually was trying to do as much as possible out there, but he was the first victim this time around, and seems like they poked a little bit to try and find out what the setup on this point is going to be from eSuba, and then IceblockGG, as soon as they jump in for the second time, they just demolish their enemies. with both of their DPS succeeding. As you said, Craig just delivering a lot of damage to poke around before they go in, and then Flippy dashes with the Swift Strike and gets the first kill already on the Tracer, which was quite important. And Crew instantly switching over to the Doomfist. We are also going to get to see Heiko on Zarya, so quite a bit of changes, and of course the Mercy gets replaced as long as there is no
yeah. And we can see Sardis is also swapped over to the Soldier 76 quite quickly, so that'll be interesting to see how that kind of incorporates. I wonder if that was a pick to counter the Pharaoh, or whether it was always a game plan to do so. But look at this flank behind, and a quick kill from the Doomfist, and then a dash away, and 4 down now on the side of IceblockGG. So eSuba definitely aren't allowing the other team to push them around.
Yeah, Flippy actually goes for the Dragon Blade and is trying to bring down the Tracer as quickly as possible. He's not even able to kill the Tracer, then gets killed off himself after. It seemed like a major mistake. It seemed like there was a lot of chaos on the lineup of IceblockGG during this team fight. See, they wanted to do way too many things at the same time. The Tracer from behind, the self-destruct right on top of the payload. They also wanted to push the payload too and deal with the front line of the enemy team.
And here we have Doomfist once again. Up now, we're back over on Sardis now on the team of eSuba, doing a bit of damage and taking out that Doomfist. And this is what we saw yesterday, was that if you're able to position correctly with the Soldier 76, you can actually neutralize Doomfist, because he's not able to close that gap. Or if he has to go through your whole team and the other side, and then Doomfist isn't able to do very much. But despite the kills that eSuba are getting, IceblockGG are advancing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. See, I think that they were not able to get the lineup they really wanted, IceblockGG, after they captured the first point, because some of them had their ultimates and they didn't want to waste them. So now that everybody died, Super Fluke is over to Reinhardt. Flippy's got the Soldier and only goes for the Visor. They're delivering so much damage, but actually Transcendence healing up most of it. Flippy with 1 kill in exchange for just 1. Crew goes down on his Doomfist from above. Sardis is struggling a little bit with a Discord Orb, but he's going to be able to dodge it out. And well, seems like this team fight's going to be quite even, although the attackers cannot push any further. So as you said, actually the kills are there for eSuba, but they cannot hold them back. Finally, it works out.
Yeah, no, I think the positioning there coming out of QB was quite good until he got caught out, unfortunately. It's just going a bit of back and forth. I didn't think the Visor was it wasn't the best timing to actually use it. It was just popped, and I think he got 1 kill, and that was it, which was a bit unfortunate. But I wonder, here we have Tomcast just in the top, watching and waiting for them to come around, and Doomfist is looking to make some sort of flank, and Super Fluke is giving us the advance, and there's a couple of ultimates coming out, and Doomfist straight away eliminating D.Va, getting up top, and look at this, jumping on Sardis, who has to back away. Quick ultimate coming out to push everyone off of the payload, and opens up the map straight away. What a great play by Kriya.
Yeah, and then instantly after, he's able to do a 180 turn to kill off the Soldier too, who tried to jump down and contest it for once more. That was not possible. 2 minutes 40 seconds of a time bank right here is nothing astonishing, but with what the game looks like, I feel like it could be enough. But see, the game looks pretty weird, because as you said, the team fights are not so clean. It's not like IceblockGG are dominating, but they're still pushing no matter what.
Yeah, at the moment it seems a little bit chaotic. It's much more skirmishing, where both teams don't seem super coordinated. We're not seeing the clean team fights of Team Singularity yesterday, or the aggression that was coming out Mix, but Chris definitely making this Doomfist work, and we can see it in the chat. Someone was saying il était très content que il est sur son Doomfist, so super excited. So he must be well known online for his Doomfist, and he's showing us why it's a power pick.
Yep, now Drew's gonna be looking for some more kills. Previously just single-handedly pinning 3 people into the wall with it, rocket punches, and that was amazing. But then on the other hand, Super Fluke's Earth Shatter would only hit a D.Va. D.Va without a mecha so it wasn't as effective of an ultimate. Primal Rage throwing Super Fluke right into the middle of the team up, but then throwing him back. Drew once again comes in with a Meteor Strike. Once again tries to look for some targets for himself, but is not able to catch up with them. Now with the uppercut, gets some high ground, gets some vision for himself, but he really wants to catch the healers. That's the thing. And like Zorath has some good positioning. The Lucio is always getting out of his sight as soon as possible. Now only a little bit left around here, but he's still able to push the payload a little bit further, if just a tiny bit, but that's always something for him. 1 minute 5 seconds left, and it's almost on the third point. Just a single victorious team fight could be it, but the question is, can they actually do it? Because this is where the Barney map gets tricky, really.
Absolutely. It was great positioning, though, from Flippy, from that Soldier 76. And once again, Fuby getting some really good flanks. I think Little Bao got a really good ultimate off to protect the team, but it just wasn't enough. But now we're seeing this McCree just to for this final push, put out that damage, possibly build up the ultimate, open up that little piece at the end. As you said, Numbani is very difficult. They've eliminated QB, who has been doing some great flanks, but then going way too deep trying to tunnel vision on a pick, and he's got to stop doing that because he's basically killing himself at that point. I think he needs to play a little bit more cautiously and not get so focused on one person. There we go. Damage comes out, and round 1 goes to eSuba.
Yep, and
sorry, to IceblockGG.
Yeah, of course, IceblockGG. And as you said, like, it seemed really chaotic, and by the ending right here, in my opinion at least, it's turned out to be a little bit anticlimactic. 21 seconds left on the time bank. It was supposed to be such a clutch situation, but they just go in, get 3 kills, and actually push the payload until the end. And also, the visors come out from Sardis at the very last moment, but he got killed off before he got to the payload even by the Zarya, so that looked a little bit unlucky and sad. And well, we'll see how eSuba actually do on the attack. It took 2 approaches to get the first point for IceblockGG, so it's not the most impressive score out there that we've seen this far. We saw many much stronger performances from some of the teams, and we saw some very interesting matches in Group B, most importantly, where when 2 highly ranked teams faced off against each other, it looked so much different than all the other matches we've experienced this far. Whenever just one person died, the fight would be disengaged, everybody would just group up again and try something completely different. But right here, where we've got IceblockGG, who should be that one highly ranked team, seems like they don't care about anything. They just brute force through no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. They seem to be very capable, and like every time they seem to lose a fight or lose a couple of members and fall back, it seemed much more like they were testing eSuba, just seeing like what is a team comp, how are they reacting, who are they focusing on, and then they would just regroup, push in, and then that was it, take over. So here we are watching Hidan on Zenyatta.
Surely everybody on IceblockGG is a person to watch. But Flippy this far has to catch up a little bit compared to what Crew's been doing once again with the Doofus. Then I feel like maybe it is the hype of a new hero coming out, but this far the performances from Doofus are just so impressive. Nobody's really able to catch up with them.
Absolutely, they've been doing great. I'm really impressed and happy with the performance. It's a powerful hero, but I'm also happy that it is able to be shut down, so it's not giving us something too broken and too dominant. But as we can see, Flippy up top here, just doing some damage. I liked his positioning yesterday on Soldier 76, so I think that will be key in this one. On the other side, eSuba don't seem to be going for anything too crazy, a pretty traditional comp, so we'll just have to see how they do and whether they're able to break this defense that IceblockGG are seeming to put up. What's been interesting though is Iceblock, their way of playing Doomfist is not to change too many things. They're just swapping him out for a Doomfist. You still have Heiko on the Diva. And here we have Flippy just sitting back, putting a nice amount of damage out, not letting eSuba push up too much, and just right there, he's nearly charged up his visor, which will be good. 2 down now on the side of eSuba, 3 down on the side of eSuba, but Sardis was able to get a couple of kills back. And unfortunately, I can't believe Dereneko survived. But this is a nice, this is a good visor. Look at this. Cleans up 2 kills, potentially a 3rd, and has to move away.
just chases the enemies back out there. But in the meantime, Lilbo was just doing way too much as that Lucio of his. He got 2 or 3 kills out there. Then when he finally got shut down, the visors come up. So he perfectly filled in the gap where the rest of the team was just not doing much. It's just helping them and saving them in this team fight. And also, as you mentioned, like Leaf, last time we saw on Mixy Mix, he was just using the team effort to make that Doomfist work. And now Crew is trying to make it all by himself. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe Kip's going to be the very same because they're the people that are excellent DPS and they can make it work.
Well, this was a very good look at this. 3 of them managing to take out their targets. Sardis again coming up big with his ultimate and taking out 2, and Kunhunta getting out the other 2. And there we go. It looks like they'll be able to cap the point now.
Yeah, finally able to cap the point, as you say, but it's taken quite a bit of time. However, right now, as everybody's just falling apart, the Dragon Blades come out and the self-destruct to just zone everybody away. Whenever there was just a Winston and Lucio left standing, a single Discord orb is enough to actually get rid of them. So even Winston couldn't really stall it too much, while usually we could see these immortal Winstons like yesterday or the day before on Hollywood or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Flippy goes back to this McCree, so maybe it wasn't just a solo pick yesterday from Singularity, and it's more of a staple that might be joining in the meta. But IceblockGG coming out big and very aggressive. They're not waiting for eSuba to come around the corner into the choke point and trying to fight them there. They're bringing the fight up to them, and they're doing really well.
Yep, and Super Blue getting really aggressive as soon as Heiko picks up that Zarya. He knows that he's got some more shields to back him up. They can take off that Discord orb additionally, which always helps a lot out there. And now the enemies push back all the way to the respawn. They have to wait out there, they have to heal up out there, and the payload's not really pushed too far. And you could see what happened previously when it was IceblockGG on the attack. They could push the payload even if they were not winning the team fights.
Yeah, and so we have a Transcendence just came out there. And I'm not entirely sure how good that was, because it seems like it's, again, we're having a bit of a chaotic fight here. We're watching Flippy, and I'm seeing the others fight. A couple of kills coming through. Actually, now they're starting to make it work for them. And there's 2 high priority targets and a couple of squishy targets, leaving only Crip, who's now down. Crew, sorry, as I was told by chat. And Super Fluke is the only one down.
Oh man, so Crew trying to do as much as possible in this team fight, but actually you were talking about the Transcendence. There was a counter Transcendence from Exarath that was completely useless because there was nobody in the middle of that team fight to even heal up. So he just flew in expecting something, but then saw that he was completely abandoned by the team and just flew back. But still, it worked out for them once again. Now they're able to push the payload quite far. Now all they need is just one successful team fight. Flippy though has the Deadeye charged up. They do have the sound barrier in case they need a little bit of protection. And Sardis gets caught by, with Tomkas out there and with them both dead. I don't think there's much to be done by eSuba, so they'll have to wait around a little bit longer again. The time bank will be down to about 1 minute, and it will be, I think, quite similar to what IceblockGG actually had, but getting the 3rd point is the trickiest thing, and now they still have to remain focused on the 2nd one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just surprised by the aggression coming out of IceblockGG. They're definitely not afraid to run forward and fight as fast and aggressively as they can, but great ultimate coming out of Zarya that's able to just take 2 people out, but it completely stops the push, it seems. That was
and actually, this Graviton Surge landing kind of mid-air, lifting the enemies up a little bit, also made it so much easier for Flippy to aim at them with the Deadeye. So everything went perfectly fine with it, and it caught very priority targets. Most importantly, whenever the Winston goes down, there's not really much you can do anymore. Super Fluke once again switching over to the Reinhardt. An interesting thing that they try to juggle the heroes quite a lot, actually, as we can notice right now. The Crew is keeping it at the Doofus for quite a bit of time now. Ever since they got the 1st point on the attack.
Absolutely, yeah. He's sticking onto it. Flippy's sticking to McCree. It's interesting Hidan has now swapped over to the Ana, but that works very well, the long range. So she was another champion that combos very nicely with Doomfist because of the way he dives in. So it'll be interesting. They're definitely bringing out more heroes that combo with Crew's Doomfist with the Zarya and the Ana. So it'll be interesting to see how things turn out, and if they're doing it because they recognize that eSuba is actually advancing, they're able to capture that point. So now they have about 1 minute and 25 seconds to make it to the end goal, and it'll be interesting to see if they're able to.
Well, they're instantly pushed back as soon as they take that second point, so that already isn't looking too good. They were supposed to hold the enemies back. They rushed down the spawn as quickly as possible with Tracer in the front. QB trying to hold them back, but it didn't work out. He instantly had to fall back. Now the rest of the team follows it even further. Crew with a kill on Sardis. Once again, a little bit of trouble for Tomkas out there. He faces off against the McCree in a 1v1, but both of them just disengage that fight. And we're down to 45 seconds, and maybe they can push it further, but it's still going to lead to another fight, and I'm worried that it might not be enough to take the third point simply. They might be right on top of it, but it will not take it.
Yeah, well, I mean, QB's great positioning here for a flank. I feel like he jumped the gun ever so slightly. That ultimate doesn't actually catch anyone, but he's moving around to catch some of the squishier targets. And what a great sleeping dart from Ana there. I mean, Tracer was about to kill the McCree, but then managed to stop it. Looks like a pretty good capture from Zarya's ultimate there, and 2 kills, and I think that is the push stopped.
Yeah,
no, so 3 down on
catching 3 people. Sardis also
taken out.
Sardis' healing was disabled though, so it doesn't necessarily matter who dies on the defending side, as there's only a Winston to attack, but he can hold on to the payload, he can hold on to the overtime so that the team regroups. So like maybe they will do more, but Rocket Punch hits again. Through with a kill on a very important healer out there. Without Lucio, it will be so much more complicated. Tomkas also dies, so as soon as the DPS rejoin, they've got nothing to back them up anymore. And Exora's just hacking up the health pack, but he's not even able to recall to it, and that is going to be it. 3-2. 1-0 overall in maps in favor of IceblockGG, but I still have to say I did not expect so much from eSuba, so I'm definitely pleasantly surprised, but once again, it's just not yet enough, and it still seems like at some point somewhere Temple of Anubis is also going to be the next map, interestingly enough, but at some point it just really seems that they're experimenting, that Iceblock is just playing around.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think they are taking it fairly seriously. I mean, to pull out if they were just playing around, then maybe they wouldn't have shown their familiarity with the Doomfist comp so early on, or maybe they're looking to practice it. But be interesting to see, well, the only person who managed to get up, like, very little damage, it seems, in eliminations in that game as far as the number screen at the end that shows us. I feel like eSuba definitely did well. They showed us some talent, and I understood what they were trying to do with the flanks and the dive comp, but Iceblock were prepared for it, and they knew exactly what was going to happen. Ana with that sleeper dart protecting the McCree, their reactions, their coordination was just a step above of eSuba, which is why ultimately they took the win, and it didn't look too challenging for them. So now, since eSuba lost that, they get to pick the next map, so we'll have to see what's going to happen there. But they'll definitely have to change things up, because the way they were playing was being shut down by Iceblock. So if they want to be more successful, they need to adapt and figure out a way to crack the defense of Iceblock.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like IceblockGG, they were playing a little bit of Winston, a little bit of D.Va and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, they always leaned towards the Reinhardt, towards Zarya,
Yep.
and then the Doomfist most importantly, but I don't think that Doomfist will be what's wrong right here. But the thing is, maybe eSuba will be a little bit more favorable on that standard team comp, on the dive team comp, where on Temple of Anubis it comes in handy a lot. However, then also Reinhardt is quite a treasured hero in here on the second point for sure, so we'll have to wait and see how both the teams decide to just deal the cards in here. But the more I start to think, the more I saw of the game from eSuba, I'm thinking that maybe Temple of Anubis is not going to be so horrible after all.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what happens. I'm not entirely sure myself. It will be interesting to see what they end up pulling out. I'd love to see some Sombra, so we can see Hidan. He's already sitting on that. I'd love to see some Sardis, some Reaper. So once again, going back to the Apex finals, there was quite a bit of use of Reaper from both teams to crack the defense of the other teams, and it worked really well, creatively played. And what they were doing was they were swapping out one of the healers actually for Reaper to do that DPS and crack the defense, push through, and then they would swap back to the healing. So I'd be very interested to see if they try to replicate that right now.
Yeah, it's surely going to be interesting to watch. For now, it seems like Hidan is actually going for the Sombra, and I don't think that it's a bad pick with this map for sure. So looking forward to some good Sombra performance again, because we've not really seen Sombra picked too many times since day one. On day one, she was a very highly contested pick, but then on day two, I think she showed up like once in Group B, maybe, or twice. And then on Group C yesterday, we did not even see a single Sombra, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe just desperately at the end of the map.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It will be interesting to see that. I mean, I like Sombra quite a lot, and I think a good Sombra can really take over the map if they're able to target the correct people for the hack and to shut them down, which in this situation would be Crew, I would say. But he's on the same team, so it doesn't matter. On the other side of it, I'm not sure who they'd need to shut down. No one was. IQB's flanks were really good, I think, but unfortunately he was getting caught out. But look at this. Crew's just setting up, waiting patiently. They haven't noticed him, and this could be deadly. Oh my god. Is he going to be able to catch anyone out? He did a bit of damage, but he's backing out, and actually he's taken out instead.
So unlucky. But yeah, in the first place also, he done died. So there's no Sombra, there's no Doomfist. Both of these heroes that we are quite hyped up for are disappearing right off the bat. And Sardis with that Reaper, he gets some damage done. Already stacking up quite a bit of the ultimate. He's already on fire, above 50%. They're taking the first point quite easily. And well, it is usually the easy point. It is the one that you should take with one single attack if you really want to accomplish something in Temple of Anubis. But up against IceblockGG, I'm surprised that it worked out, really.
Yeah, I mean, that was great. What a great push, and very dominant, and that was it. There was just kind of nothing left to do. So they're pushing forward. We see Crew at the moment just eliminating a couple of people there, just solo the two. Why were the two healers left alone on the side there to be killed with no one around? And that's it. 5 people were just suddenly eliminated from the side of eSuba. And is this going to be one of the fastest matches we've seen?
It's right here in the little alleys. Crew unfortunately struggling a little bit with the movement on Doomfist, maybe doing the uppercut before or after some of his other abilities, so he couldn't even jump out from below. But well, anyway, as you said, he just jumped down at the supports, and that was very important. And now we also saw yesterday from Leaf just eliminating 2 supports, ended the map against FTW. That's how important it was. And once again, he just isolates. First of all, a Lucio, then a Zenyatta. In the meantime, also a Diva, getting a ton of kills, and their inside is still sticking with the Reaper of his. But as you mentioned, they're not replacing the supports, because they do have alongside with the Reaper a Lucio and Zenyatta already. Now the ultimates are starting to stack up. On the defense from Super Fluke, there is no Reinhardt actually, although I remember him even back in the days loving to play that Winston a lot, so he'll definitely be doing quite fine on it.
Yeah, and we have 4 ultimates ready on IceblockGG, so it's going to be very hard for eSuba to crack this. They do have their 4 ultimates, and I'm excited to see how Sardis uses his Death Blossom to take care of things, because that will be really interesting. But here we have a Meteor Strike, which could be devastating if the team doesn't get out of the way, but misses everyone, it seems, and then he's just simply taken out. So it's definitely not Leaf playing Doomfist today, that's for sure.
That's Pulse Bomb actually obliterated Super Blue completely, but he had some good ideas. He pinned Exora to his own respawn. When he killed that Zenyatta, he fell back to the respawn to get the healed up as quickly as possible, jumped in, but then got shot down by Pulse Bomb. But it all would have been so good if he just hadn't died. But once again, the attack just gets neutralized, nothing really captured out there, not much damage done, even though it looked really dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. It will be interesting to see now. Well, we have Hidan trying to sit around the corners there. I haven't seen too much from him yet, so I'm interested to see what he's able to do and what type of hacks, who is he going to prioritize, and how they're going to start up the map. The ultimates are down basically on both sides of the team, but look at this aggressiveness coming out of IceblockGG, just pushing forward. Look, there we go, eliminating the mech, stopping that, a couple of damage. But Iceblock loses 3 people, so maybe that was a mistake to be so aggressive.
Yep, the EMP disables the diva, so it's logical that you want to take her out when defensive matrix is not going to show up. But then when they lose 3 people at the same time, it turns out to have been such a great mistake. And Heiko also calls down the mech again, and it immediately gets shot down by the pulse bomb. The pulse bombs are just so on point from QB all this game long. Nixorat though is finally going to drop. From both sides, we've got the sound barriers, and Super Fluke once again with the primal rage, once again jumping around, once again being able to eliminate just one person, but this time there is no pulse bomb anymore. As I said, it was used to neutralize the mecha, so he is a little bit more free in this fight. Self-destruct, not doing much, even getting the kill on Tomkes, but Tomkes beforehand killed his counterpart on the enemy team. But once again, I mean, for the attackers, it's just so hard on Temple of Anubis to just stall, to just extend until the rest of the team joins back after they're dead. When you die, it's pretty much over for you during the attack, and the defenders can come back like 3 times easily.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm quite impressed by actually what eSuba was able to do there. You know, they've gotten 2/3 of the point already, and they have about 3 minutes left, so they have the time to crack it, and they're just sitting back, kind of building up the ultimates. As we can see, Deadeye is available right now, and we're looking to do it. QB has just been performing like a monster. He just, I think he just needed to warm up. The first game, he didn't impress me, but here we are. Like, he's completely warmed up, and his map movements have been great, the flanks and everything. He's kind of checked his aggressiveness, and look at that, eliminating 3 people straight away. Crew is able to get someone, but he's alone in the middle of the map, and I don't know if this ultimate is actually going to do very much.
Oh my goodness, so close with that contest. They really have to stay in there. The Sombra once again trying to deliver as much damage as possible. Now Tomkes on his primal rage. Super Fluke will not be able to counter that for a little bit longer. He needs 7% more for the ultimate, but that could be so close. Instantly triggers the primal rage, saving himself in a very, very tough situation. Heiko joining in. He still had the mecha for a little bit longer, but now as it goes down, there's the sound barrier too, so even the diva without the mecha can survive a little bit longer. Drew rejoins the fight again, but they're all dying, dropping like flies, and that could be it. But the EMP once again shuts them down. Flippy jumping around with his Genji, had some Swift Strike, had some deflect, but it wasn't enough. He had to jump down underneath the bridge for the healing, and in the meantime, the point was captured. 1 minute 47 seconds on the time bank right here, after having 7 minutes, more than 7 minutes even after the first point. But, well, it's Temple of Anubis. Them getting the second one, they should already be happy with it. And such a huge struggle on the side of IceblockGG. And indeed, like you said, it just did not seem like they were messing around anymore in here. It was just a fully serious play, yet they were not able to hold on to the defense.
Yeah, no, that was very well played by eSuba, and at the end there, it just seemed like IceblockGG were throwing champions in one at a time in desperation, but they weren't able to do anything. QB really was the player of the match for me there. His flanks and his bombs were just completely on point, and they opened up the map hugely. I'm not so sure how I felt about Crew's Doomfist in that defense, but it'll be interesting. So as we can see, eSuba's going for bit of an unusual team comp. It'll be interesting to see if they actually stick to that or if they're just teasing us, but it looks like no. Yep, that's what they're gonna do. Oh no, they are taking the Sombra.
Right, so that's interesting to see actually if on the attack we'll see at least a part of what's picked at the moment. Maybe the Farm Mercy, I don't think it would be so useless out there. Maybe the Widowmaker, although it just doesn't necessarily provide you so much of pushing pressure. Even if you pick somebody off, you're not really able to get in with 5 people. The Widowmaker's not going to help you on that push at all. But we'll see.
Well, it looks like the way that they're setting up is that they just want to pick off a couple of people and then use Heiko and maybe Super Pluk to just push and capture that point. But it's definitely going to be tougher to cancel that. And Xwrath with a good hack can definitely shut the push-in down.
Flippy's actually going in on that Widowmaker.
Let's see what Flippy can do. He's able to do much. Hit a few shots on Sardis, but nothing huge.
Finally getting the high ground, so maybe a little bit more action from now. But still, let's take a look at the rest of the team, because they're on the point very easily. But of course, not getting any kills is not going to mean that they take it over. Heiko trying to get away, but actually that mecha is taking quite a bit of damage in there. And Super Plug down to half, Lilbo down to below half, very low, but manages to survive. There's the EMP though.
Flippy has warmed up.
Xora does not save his team at all. Flippy indeed hitting the shot on the Sombra too. That was definitely very important. Also, the little Diva being picked off by a sniper. That's I think, the most annoying hero to hit out there alongside the Tracer. The little Diva without her mecha. And now they finish off nearly everybody, but Tomkas rejoins, and he'll stall it, well, not long enough. I don't think that it will be long enough for the rest of the team to get here. And already you can see Kunhuta just trying to get some good positioning for himself for the second point defense.
Yeah, well, Flippy just popped that ultimate. I'm sure he'll be swapping over now. Yep, there we go, swapping to the Reaper. So this is really interesting, the way the resurgence of the Reaper is coming out. I'm not sure that the team comp from eSuba was prepared for the Farmer, for the Widowmaker, and they just completely got destroyed there. But here we have it. QB is definitely the man to watch, because on this defense, he's going to be coming around like he is already, throwing bombs and putting in so much damage. They've already managed to eliminate one in Little Bar, but we'll have to see if they can catch more. Sardis definitely getting more, and Hidan reviving them. There goes the ultimate, and Crew is back on his Doomfist. And what can he do with it?
One kill with the self-destruct is always something. It's very rare that you'd see the self-destruct kill. Xoraf once again getting one for himself, then the EMP disables all the remaining people on the point. They're gonna get obliterated, and that's gonna be the end of the first push. 5 minutes 40 seconds left on the time bank. They still have quite a bit of time to figure it out, to work it up there. And now they're not gonna have Hedon on the Mercy, which solely relied on the res out there. Although the res wasn't so bad, but right after it, they wouldn't really do much anymore.
Yeah, once again, I just get the feeling that IceBlock are kind of probing and just getting a feel for eSuba, how they're playing, what's their defense setup like, and this is going to be the interesting setup right now. Super Plug jumping in, we have the ultimate coming out of the Lucio, so what will they be able to do with this? QB just sitting on the sides, and Sardis again with a great ultimate, and they completely wipe out IceBlock's, I think that was actually a team wipe.
Yeah.
Well played by eSuba, just great defense, and they're playing their champions extremely well.
Pretty much right there, obliterating everything that the enemy team throws at them, and Drew, from quite a bit of time already, he's not really been able to put that Doomfist to good use. I think he had one good ultimate eliminating the McCree previously when they were defending, but now it's once again just not working. Maybe holding onto the Far Mercy even would have been a better idea. And I've seen it work on the second point of Temple of Anubis so many times already. But Crew finally starting to get going, as if to prove me wrong. But if he's the only one that gets the kills on his team with the rest of the team already wiped out, it doesn't help at all.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, like, 2 kills to 6 is definitely not worth it. So at this point, IceBlock have tried it a couple of times. I definitely think they need to maybe take a step back and reconsider things. They're just pushing down one way, it looks like. So I'm not so sure. Sardis, though, has swapped over. He's gone off the Soldier 76 that he's been doing so well with, and going on to the McCree, which I'm a bit surprised by. But great ultimate coming out of Zarya there and catching quite a few people. Crew's able to get 2 down, but then return double kill coming from the Diva.
That's the self-destruct's been ticking for so long. Everybody was getting away as soon as it went down, but 2 people still did not manage to escape it, and I'm surprised by that, because there was nobody in the vicinity. It must have been by a little bit of an accident, maybe by them not knowing where the explosion radius is going to be. But the double kill, that completely neutralizes the double kill from the Meteor Strike, and once again a very safe situation. Crew just giving in all the effort to try and make it work, but when the rest of the team's gone, it just doesn't give you anything, and now they're going to be flying in once again. Crew actually leading the charge, getting in a little bit too far, but just flies back again as soon as he notices that there's nobody following him. Heiko with the bomb stuck on him. Pulse bomb's going to eliminate the mecha. Flippy though with the Death Blossom clears out the area indeed, but with just a single lethal kill. And Sardis also replies with the dead eye so easily. And once again, they get wiped out. Already the time bank is being run down to the exact same amount of time that eSuba have. Even if they win on this push, they're not going to have an advantage right there. And the probability of them taking it now is still pretty low, since it's just not been working at all for all that long.
Yeah, no, I was quite impressed by Flippy's ultimate. He cleared out, he got a couple of kills, but then the rest of IceblockGG weren't there to follow it up. So this is a thing that they've really got good EMP, it looks like, and it seems to have delayed this push quite significantly. And QB just pushing out there, some good aggression, catching out the more squishier members. And once again, IceblockGG's push has been stopped before it can really even get started. The thing is, they already tried to build up their ultimates and use that to crack the defense, and they weren't very successful. So we're definitely seeing why eSuba picked this map. They never seem to be too worried about the initial attacking phase, and they've never lost control in the defense right now. But look how far forward Extrath was pushing forward. Great use of his recall, or teleport backwards rather.
Yep, and right now just goes down to, okay, maybe 2 pushes, but if they get stalled, if they don't all die after a failure right now, then it's probably going to go down to some overtimes, or maybe not even a second one. Crew jumping in, instantly killing off QB. That might be it, actually. They finally go in from the flank. That's something they've not done for quite a bit of time. Sardis once again trying to deal off the damage. Removed from the tree, from the flank. With a good self-destruct, zoning everybody away, instantly gets another mecha for himself, but just gets soaked up by the defense matrix from the other side. In the meantime, Drew once again working his way towards some kills, but McCree scares him away. Sardis doing a good job, and as you mentioned, that McCree might not have just been a little bit of a plaything yesterday, might indeed be a very legitimate hero being picked up, because it's the 3rd team already using him pretty efficiently. Can hit them once again with some kills, and we're down to 30 seconds pretty much. QB still dealing the damage out there, chasing them down. Recalls back to safety, and that thins down the time bank completely. It will go down to a team fight on an overtime. And since from the flank it was so much more effective, but it also didn't work out really, they didn't even get a single tick off that point again. It might be close to being over on Temple of Anubis, and the aggression once again really shows. Cube's just chasing everybody down. Flippy dies before the team fight starts. Nobody's near to the points.
That was actually a huge mistake from Flippy coming out there, and that's lost them the game, I would say. Darren Echo at the end, though, had a huge play of the game where he was able to save Sardis, who then went on to cause a lot of damage because Flippy was in his face and about to kill him, but Darren Echo popped his ultimate and prevented that. So that was pretty huge. Really good game from eSuba, and very impressive the way that they never really lost control at any point in the whole game, attacking or defending. So interesting that Flippy, though, gets to play the match.
Well, let's see, and it's after the Dragon Blade, interestingly enough, too. Manages to get a 1 kill on Sardis out,
good cleanup.
Some more people, yeah, good cleanup, some good assists also racked up by him, but I think that maybe like a double kill ultimate from a Meteor Strike or a self-destruct would have deserved it a little bit more. But nevertheless, still, he is on the losing side, and I have to admit that I'm a little bit ashamed that I did not believe in eSuba at all, or maybe I'm a little bit ashamed that I believed in IceblockGG so much with the names that they've got right there. Like, as people said in the chat, they have players from teams, really good teams like Luminosity or Misfits out there. I know that they have some good international achievements in the past already playing against the best. And they're facing off against eSuba, who never have really done well on an Overwatch weekly. They only got some success on the Czech and Slovakian scene, and they're doing so well that I want to see some more Czech and Slovakian teams if their scene is so competitive, apparently.
Yeah, well, but I think a lot of it comes down to the organization, because, like I said before, eSuba have won 2 Legend Series, and the Counter-Strike one, they weren't expected to be the best team, but they managed to play extremely well. So it seems like eSuba is able to identify the talent and to really help them succeed. So I'm not that surprised. I was expecting something of them. IceblockGG would definitely be the favorite, but I'm actually a bit disappointed with IceblockGG's performance in that second game. They just seemed a little bit messy, a little bit all over the place, not as coordinated as I have expected from them. especially after seeing the other teams that have won, particularly in Group B and C, which I casted. VV's Adventure and Singularity were extremely clean in their gameplay and the way that they won and, the way that they were coordinating. And I'm not seeing that same cleanness coming out of IceblockGG, which I absolutely would have expected given the players and caliber players that they have on their team.
Yeah, and that's also the thing. Like the first map, we tried to justify it, saying that they may be having a little bit of fun with their enemies, but it's just not looking good anymore, really. After the Temple of Anubis, it really has shown that it is actually chaos. And now just take a look at the players also. Maybe just turning a little bit rusty, because taking a look at Flippy or Crew, these guys have the season high of 4,500, which would be of a class of the players like these, but their current SR is along the lines of 3,000 flats, which surely isn't something impressive for, as you said, players of their caliber.
Yeah, it definitely should be better. So, but this will be interesting. Watchpoint Gibraltar wasn't a map that I expected to see, but here we are. It's a fun map to watch, and it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do. I wonder what eSuba is going to bring out. Because they've been quite flexible on the things. I was impressed by Darren Echo's Lucio timings and his ultimates. On the other side, we're seeing Flippy on the Widowmaker again, and whether he'll stay on that or not. But it was successful in their initial push. I did like it. But then they swapped off of the Widowmaker and the Farmer. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how things go.
We'll have to wait and see how things go. I also want to find out whether Crew will try to play the Doomfist on this map too. Because, well, it's Watchpoint Gibraltar. It favors a lot of these long-range heroes, and Doomfist could be a very questionable pick, let's say. But I also would like to see how he would match up on maps like this exactly.
Yeah, so far I haven't been overly blown away by... I haven't been blown away by the performance of his Doomfist, especially not after seeing what Leaf was able to do with the champion yesterday. So we'll just have to wait and see. And look at Little Bao being a great teammate and giving his monkey friend a good time.
Yep. That's what people very often used to do on Watchpoint Gibraltar back when it was picked a little bit more often. Pick up a Bastion, get that Reinhardt on the tire and get it spinning.
Nice little throwback.
Okay, Crew picking the Doomfist, so let's see. As you said, maybe he's not been as impressive as Leaf yesterday. Maybe not even as half as impressive, but that is his time to shine if he manages to impress us here on Watchpoint Gibraltar. But most importantly, if he manages to impress eSuba and overwhelm them, then that's all they need, right?
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, it's just a matter of waiting and seeing how they do. Maybe they just need to warm up. We saw that previously. I think it was in Group B. There were a couple of teams that started off a bit slow and then woke up and started playing great. But here we have the initial push, and I'm watching QB doing some good damage here. Heiko's trying to pull back a little bit. We'll see what he's able to do and keep them back. But they've already managed to push up fairly far.
Neko in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, Super Fluke is able to take him out instantly, but the Nano Boost is there, and that Winston will be delivering a ton of damage, although without his Primal Rage, yeah, that was what I was afraid of. He's just gonna drop down. This corridor was a little bit too much, even with the Nano Boost. There's the Meteor Strike. Where is it going, though? That's a question, actually, on towards a dead body of an Ana. A little bit unlucky right there. They didn't really communicate too well with Heiko. And in the meantime, Son is alongside with his D.Va. They're wreaking havoc and just getting rid of any person that might be able to push the payload further. So the first point's not yet capped, but it's not so far away from there. A single victorious team fight could be what pushes it further for IceblockGG. So the beginning surely isn't bad.
Yeah, so I think what IceblockGG at this point need to do is they really need to coordinate slightly better. I personally, I would say that Heiko should swap off of the D.Va and maybe onto Zarya to really enable Doomfist and Crew to do the most damage that he can. Because he is getting focused quite well by eSuba. So, but look at this. Here's the ultimate coming out from Zenyatta. And they're pushing in to see if they are able to do something. Crew's trying to shut down Sardis, but so far hasn't been able to.
somehow not many people have been able to shut down Sarge this far overall in the game. When he picks the McCree, he's also unstoppable right now on the Genji, showing what he can do. Kanutaro losing his mecha, but the sound barrier is definitely supporting as much as it's humanly possible right there. QB once again on the tracer of his. We pointed out how important he was on Numbani and also on Temple of Anubis, and there he goes in again looking for that pulse bomb stick, but still 25% away. He gets killed off right there, but Sardis once again hopping in, then shot down by Flippy. Tomka is gonna, they're back in the fray. The mecha is back in there too, and that's very important. Once again, Crew's ultimate. Actually, this time it kills off the Ana. This time Flippy was not on that target, but still, I don't think that it's just enough. Getting rid of these tanks on top of the payload would be the priority for them. They cannot push it any further. They're losing the time. 50 seconds left on the time bank, and they're falling back. Now regrouping again, and this will be the re-engage where they have to make it. If they don't, they're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, I think they will be able to. It's a good push forward. I don't think eSuba's exactly in position to completely stop this, but maybe one at a time they will be able to. Crew coming up big with 2 or 3 kills, I think it was. So at this point they should be able to secure it. Yep, they are. There we go. I thought so. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that was a very good defense coming from eSuba. So at this point it was, like I said, I think they needed to really unlock Crew a little bit more, and they seem to have done so with a good coordination between Hidan and Little Bao. But now it's a matter of like Sardis against Crew right now, and what are they going to be able to do? Because Sardis has been performing really well on his Genji.
Sardis on his Genji, and there's still a possibility that he'll switch over to McCree and probably something else out there. But there's Dragon Blade also coming out from Flippy alongside with the sound barrier, trying to cut through a lot of people, but only gets 1 kill for himself. However, with the team supporting, with the team also doing a lot, it's going to be working out quite fine. A Transcendence and a Meteor Strike, although on towards the payload, where there was only a single person out there. Now I think that they pushed a little bit over the edge. I think they used up too many ultimates on this one single fight, where they already had everything under control.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of itchy fingers, maybe a little bit of nervousness that they were worried that they were getting behind. But look at that elimination, 1 hit from Crew, and just deletes QB. But the payload is so close to the final point here, I don't see eSuba being able to stop it. And IceblockGG, this is the coordination that we expected from them. And look at that. Oh, that's it. 5 people down on the other side of eSuba, and IceblockGG are going to push this payload much further. And already we see Crew positioning himself with a flank to be able to damage and kill off those squishy targets. As we said in the pregame, you know, Doomfist is able to one-shot 21 out of 24 heroes. It's a huge amount of damage, and Crouch walking around here on the side, so it'll be exciting to see what he's able to do. And is he going to be able to get rid of the Zenyatta? It looks like it. No! Great reaction by eSuba there to not let Zenyatta go down, which definitely would have weakened their defense. And QB taking advantage of that to get behind him, do a lot of damage, and he himself might actually be able to take out those squishier healers and prevent IceblockGG from pushing much further.
Yeah, and once again, the McCree out there delivering the damage, just doing his job. And Flippy, actually, finally, he's not just a shadow out there in the game. Finally, he's able to really do something. He's getting these highlight plays on the Genji. While on the Reaper, he was just pretty much non-existent on Temple of Anubis, unfortunately, and he was the one that I think made the mistake that got them rid of the one last push opportunity that they had. Now a good Transcendence with the Monkey jumping in. It's very good to just push him back with making no opportunities for him to pick anybody apart. Super Poop, though, a little bit too deep out there. Luckily enough, a misplaced punch with the Primal Rage.
A triple kill coming out of Sardis.
Look, the triple kill for the Deadeye, and then they push them further and further towards the respawn. Oh, close enough right there. A good recall from QB right at the exact moment the Doofus was about to pin him to the wall.
Sardis did so well with his McCree that he's forced Flippy to try it, which is actually a bit concerning because I feel like IceblockGG are kind of just swapping in and out, and maybe this will be the right one, but I wasn't impressed by Flippy's Genji right there. His ultimate was a bit wasted. At the same time, actually, I think I have to give credit to Darren Echo's ultimate and Exorath defense, but look at that. QB and Kunta just coming together to eliminate Crew and Flippy, and once again IceBlockGG just stopped. And it seems like what's happening is that eSuba are really controlling the tempo of the game, and IceBlock are reacting, swapping heroes, trying to figure out ways of doing it, rather than playing the game that they want to play. And they need to stop that. So we've swapped over a couple of heroes, and looks like they're going to be charging up their ultimates, and hopefully that will allow them to unlock.
Well, for now, okay, Hayden getting their kills, and no, not a good position for Karuna when he jumps down without the Mecha. Crew instantly shots him down right after. Crew looking for some more kills and finding a good push, but I was just about to say, with 50 seconds left out there, the payload was a little bit too far to make it work with just one single teamfight. I think they will be able to extend it, or actually QB doesn't want to risk dying instantly as he jumps out, but Tomkaz then comes in from the other side. He's instantly Discord orb, so he's got to be careful. Sardis once again on the Genji, puts him down! Oh, what a good shots up from Superplug, and that's why his Reinhardt is just legendary. Flippy once again going ham, but this time on a McCree, countering the play of Sardis as he turns back to the Genji, which apparently was not the greatest idea. So they do take the 3rd point. And I am once again astonished. This game is just surprising over and over and over again. On Temple of Anubis, I would not have guessed that eSuba would be the victors right here. I definitely would not have said that there's this chance still for a 3-0 in favor of IceblockGG after first round. But now we'll have to see how on the offense eSuba does, because, well, they had some good defense for the most part, and it's much less forgivable to just die on the defense. So maybe now on the offense they'll get some more opportunities and get a time bank alongside with that 3 points.
Yeah, well, I think Flippy heard me questioning the McCree pick and was a bit unhappy and jealous of my praising of Sardis, and decided to finish up with about a triple kill from his own Deadeye at the end, unlocking the win for his team. It's IceblockGG are just looking a bit uncoordinated, and every so often everything falls into place, and that's why we're seeing these huge pushes. Suddenly, they start playing together really well. They completely team wipe eSuba, barely anyone dies, and they push the payload, half of the length of the map. But then they suddenly become uncoordinated again, and they've just got to refine. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure, like I said, are they just not warmed up or what's happening? But it's just having those small issues seem to be plaguing them somewhat, and preventing them from dominating eSuba. But at the same time, eSuba is also just playing very well. QB and Sardis are just being monsters, and Darren Echo and Exrath are playing very well as the supports and timing their ultimates perfectly to prevent IceBlock from getting any advantage when they're using their ultis.
Yeah, and as you say, like, the lack of coordination, maybe the lack of warm-up, but it's been so long. It's already the 3rd map, and both of these maps lasting quite a bit of time. And when we were just presenting the teams before the day started, I said that they are on quite a good winning streak. Overall, they've been dominant pretty much. They've beaten NC with a 3-0, which is quite a bit of a feat out there, with only being able to lose against Vivi's Adventure and Zen Gaming Esports. But it's just not what I would expect from IceblockGG.
No, not at all. I'd expect something a lot more coordinated, and I expect something a lot more effective. Yesterday we were seeing Mixy Mix. I really enjoyed their playstyle, their aggression, and the damage they were doing. But when they were going up against Singularity, Singularity was shutting them down, controlling the tempo and momentum of the map, and never giving them, never really losing control. Whereas here, eSuba seem to be the ones controlling the map, and if IceBlock want to win the whole tournament, they can't play like this. And really, at the moment, if they even want to survive this group stages, they can't play like this. But as I say that, look at that Kunta just coming in and killing a couple of people.
Yeah, finally not playing a diva, being able to do quite well on that soldier, even just bringing down the Tracer with a melee strike at the end of the day. And also, chiming back again towards IceblockGG, it's not like their matches are not recent, because some of their last matches are like 2 weeks ago. And we had some real good teams coming into this tournament with no matches played for 2 months or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I mean, there's a lot of differences and so on, but this is an interesting Visor. I wonder if he'll be able to get a couple of kills. Crew is just dominating suddenly on this. Seems to be a coordination point where IceBlock are suddenly playing on the same page and completely team wipe eSuba. But eSuba's in a fairly decent position. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left on the clock, and the payload's pretty close to the next section.
Yep, And this is getting real interesting because the first push was just so effective, especially due to Gunhuda doing so well on the soldier when you were talking about the visor. But for now, the payload is, unfortunately for them, stopped. Hidden will have the Transcendence. There is a Primal Rage who's zoning away the enemies from the payload. Will not be so hard for Supercloak, although, as I mentioned, he exceeds to most on a Reinhardt. But there we go. The teamfight opens up. Sidus is not really able to do much, and he's just being pinned down by the Winston. Manages to survive somehow. Both the Winstons already going into their Primal Rages, but most importantly, the victors of this teamfight this far are IceblockGG. Once again, Flippy on his Tracer. And even on the teamfight that they lost, Flippy was able to get a triple kill with the Tracer. So he just goes ham on Watchpoint Gibraltar finally, while he was lacking too much on Temple of Anubis, and he was just okay-ish, I would say, on the Bunny.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What a great team fight coming out of IceblockGG. I don't think they actually even lost anyone, and they managed to kill everyone on eSuba. At this point, you know, we have 60% on Kunta and a couple, but look at that, a triple kill. What an excellent bomb coming out of Flippy. You know, every time I'm not entirely sure if he's playing at the top of his game, he suddenly does that sort of play, and that's what keeps coming out of Iceblock. Moments of genius. But moments of genius will not win them the tournament, so they need to be a lot more consistent, but they're definitely suddenly waking up and preventing, and at this point, with 35 seconds left on the clock, eSuba need to win the next team fight and get the payload to the checkpoint, otherwise it's just going to be over. And Heiko in a very good position, sitting there in the back, at a great, you know, able to get to that health pack down below. I'm not sure why he dropped off there. That wasn't necessarily the best, but are they going to be able to eliminate Tomkis? No, but reaction to QB, so he isn't able to get the flank that was needed, but they're pushing in. And as we can see, QB there trying to desperately get the damage on those damage dealers and squishier targets, but isn't able to. And Flippy on the flip side is able to start to eliminate Extrath, and I wonder if he's going to be able to kill him. Will the rest of his team react or not? And no, they will not, and that is 5 down now on the side of eSuba, and I'm pretty sure this is it.
3-0, and man, I don't even know where to start. It looked so messy for IceblockGG on many points of all the maps this far, but once again, just makes me go back to the theory that no one really knows or wants to play the Temple of Anubis. And that's why eSuba exceeded right there, because they wanted this map to be in the map pool. They wanted to pick it, they trained it, they knew how to do well on it. And yeah. IceBlock maybe didn't really care all that much about Temple of Anubis because they knew they wouldn't be able to do well. And well, that was a very good Deadeye, but I also would have appreciated that triple kill from Flippy with the Tracer Pulse Bomb. Also looked real smooth.
That was really excellent. He read the map movements coming out of eSuba and knew they would be walking down that path. So great reaction time throughout the Pulse Bomb and just started to wait for that quick easy triple and shutting down the push. So here we have it. So IceblockGG able to advance forward, but I'm impressed with eSuba's performance. So they should be feeling quite good. You know, they lost the last one. They'll have to refine it because they're definitely not going to get Temple of Anubis if they do match up with IceblockGG later on. So at this point they need to look at these other maps because their performance on Numbani was okay, but at Watchpoint Gibraltar I really wasn't impressed by them. I think actually the situation here is unfortunate to say, but as good as eSuba was doing, I feel like it was IceblockGG that wasn't performing as well as they should have been, which is what gave the opportunity for eSuba to win.
And yeah, it might be a little bit unfortunate for eSuba, but then on the other hand, you have to look at where it puts this group.
Yeah.
In theory, IceblockGG is the best team of this group, and we don't really know what's happening with them. It's real awkward to watch them. We're talking about the major mistakes that they're making and how many of them they're making. And I'm worried if, like, on the background of Singularity from Group C or Vivi's Adventure from Group B, if this kind of team, if this IceblockGG will be enough to even do anything about them.
Yeah, I didn't manage to catch the finals of NC, so I'm not sure about their level of performance. They're the ones I feel the least comfortable with, but I know they did well. I would currently think I'm putting Team Singularity at #1 place, Vivi's Adventure very close second. and I've not really been impressed by IceblockGG. I have to say, they just don't. They should be doing better, and it's just I think what we're expecting from them. But they still managed to win 2-1, and they advance forward. And I think they have a little bit of a break now, so they can maybe sit down, reflect on what's happened, study up on the next team, and see what steps they need to make to kind of get the play to where we know that they can be playing. Because this is the thing, we're not bashing them just for the fun of it. We know how good IceblockGG can be, and they're not playing to that level. So that's the issue at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see. But eSuba's dropping down, and our next match is going to be Cyber Athletes against KGSCL. And it'll be interesting to see what they're able to pull out, because it might end up being, maybe we have more than one dark horse, and this could be the wild card group of the whole tournament.
Yep, that's it. And I just don't really know how to put it. As I mentioned, this match could be so close, but I can already see a lot of fans from Cyber Athletes in the chat out there, and maybe not enough people believe in KGSEL, or maybe you guys can prove me wrong right now, or just the fans of the other team are sitting put and waiting for a little bit. And, well...